that our flag was still there.
Here I am. Here we are. Yes, another week.
Well, what's up, everybody? Welcome to On the Line. I know it's been a while since we've been here, just us, where we just discuss what's going on in entertainment news. But yeah, I'm back. Drinks and Drag will be back next week. And I should also let you know that I have a podcast coming soon because, we've been trying to work out the kinks of that. We were with All Digital Radio, and then I was calling the Chris Avalon Show. But if we're going to come back and do something new and different, I had to come up with a name. And then EJ got on me and was like, bitch, stop changing your name. But overall, nevertheless, new me, new reinventions. They say new year, new me. And then y'all go to the gym for like a month and then y'all leave, y'all there January, y'all done by February. But, new year, new show, new this, new everything. It's got to be, got to constantly reinvent ourselves. You had to, I was somebody I was supposed to learn it from. I learned it from my girl Madonna. So I have Chris Avalon Unfiltered. That's going to be the new podcast title that's going to be coming later on this year. Should be coming. I don't want to give you all a specific date. We're still working that out, but yeah, that's going to be coming soon. So it's no longer going to be the Chris Avalon Show. That was a good 7-year run with that. It's going to be called Chris Avalon Unfiltered. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. So yeah, with On the Line, normally what we do with this show is we always do like a little short form video and that sort of thing where we just talk about, I get in and out with the celebrity news and hot topics, but because of the Batman coming out this weekend, this is going to be a longer video because it's going to be a spoiler review of it. And I just want to talk about all the things that I liked about the film, if there's any dislikes, the characters, the overall script, what I thought of, all the actors. And I'm not going to do a whole comparison of this Batman versus all the other Batmans in the past, because to me, this is a film that should stand on its own as a story that Matt Reeves is trying to tell his own version of Batman and that whole world. And it kind of was annoying me that there were people on social media and a lot of the critics and stuff too that are trying to compare, and I've seen it in the timelines of people trying to compare Christian Bale to Robert Pattinson. Their iterations of the Caped Crusader and Bruce Wayne is vastly different, so I don't understand why the comparison. So we have that we're going to get to. We're also going to talk about, I want to talk about AMC charging people for higher ticket prices, because I actually went today to see the Batman at an AMC theater, and I've always gone to AMC to see a lot of my films. And I want to see if, you guys think that this is a good idea that they're raising the price on that. Also, going to talk about my boys Will Smith and Michael Bakari Jordan, who are going to be joining forces for a sequel to I Am Legend. Any of my thoughts on that, as well as Laverne Cox and what she had to say at the SAG Awards this week, where people were up in arms, mainly Vivica A. Fox, who played Will's stripper girlfriend in Independence Day. She pretty much didn't like what she said, and throwing the whole entanglement thing in. I want to give my thoughts on that. Plus, we got a new Alien movie coming to Hulu from a well-known horror director, and I'm kind of excited. I didn't feel it until I heard it was directing, and now I'm on board. So we got that, and I'm going to give my thoughts on this new Bullet Train trailer, where we got everybody from Sandra Bullock to Bad Bunny up in there. Yeah, Bad Bunny is pretty much fighting Brad Pitt in this movie. So I'm going to be giving my thoughts on that and a whole lot more. But before we do all of that, let's get right into the main thing, which is this Batman movie, which, I was hyped over this film from the beginning. So I was eagerly anticipating it. I was having anxiety over this film. Like it happening, stuff going on with it. It was like, oh my God, I'm anticipating the day that it was coming. So the day finally came today. I had an 8 a.m. show at Lincoln Square. I mean, at the theater in Lincoln Square at AMC. So yeah, it was an 8 a.m. show. I got up at the book regular dawn, so I've been up since 6:30 and I'm still awake. I had to have me a Red Bull because I was like, oh my God, I was just eagerly anticipating, and I was hoping because it was a 3-hour movie that I didn't have to take a pee break. And thank you, Jesus, I did not. So I got up early, went with a friend of mine. We both went together because it was his birthday is tomorrow. So I was like, let me just surprise him with this early Christmas. Well, birthday, Christmas, we all celebrate the same shit the same way. Um, so we both went. He was excited too. And then we basically was watching the movie, like from the opening scene, like he leans over to me like, I'm loving this movie so far. So, um, hey, Sailor Mermaid, glad that you can join me. He's always here when I need you. But anyway, so basically with this film, what I'm going to say is, in my opinion, this has got to be my favorite Batman movie in cinematic history. Like, I know there's people I love The Dark Knight, and they love this, and I love that, and I love The Dark Knight too. But to me, I look at The Dark Knight as a movie that was based on the Joker. Like, to me, that was more of a Joker film, and Christian Bale came across as a co-star, whereas in this film, I felt that he was someone that Robert Pattinson basically embodied everything I needed that I wanted to see on the big screen from a Batman movie. And I don't feel like none of the Batman films that have come out in the source of when did we first got our first Batman movie? I think it was like 1990. So it had to be like 30 years, if I can do the math, over 30 years that we've been getting Batman on the big screen. Everybody's iteration is different, but to me, based on comic books come to life and seeing a comic book come to life on the big screen, this movie gave me everything I needed. And the fact that they grounded it in so much realism is what I loved about it. So I know a lot of people were saying that this was like a horror movie. I did not get a horror movie from it. I got more suspense. There were moments where there were horror moments in it with, the bludgeoning of the mayor, which I should get to the opening sequence. So the opening, it basically opens with, you see the point of view of someone looking at a family through a window on Halloween night through binoculars. So everybody was thinking that this is Bruce Wayne and Martha and his father Thomas. But then we learn as we continue to watch that it's not going to be telling the origin story for the umpteenth time about Batman. And thank you, Jesus, because I was like, we already know the story. We don't need to continue to see this. So I like the fact that there was that misdirection. And basically what it was that it was the mayor of Gotham City who was running for re-election, and he was running up against another mayor someone else, a black woman. So shout out to my black women. And she actually ended up winning because he wound up getting murdered by the Riddler. So there was this shot that comes like he's literally watching the debate between him and I forget her name, so forgive me, the woman who's running for mayor. And then he gets a phone call. And so then he walks away from looking at the TV. And basically all you have is the lighting of the TV. And then all of a sudden the room is dark. And then it flashes and you literally saw behind him the entire time was the Riddler. So we already know what type of film this is going to be. He kills the mayor, wraps his face up in duct tape, puts No More Lies on it, and then begins this spiral of we get the detective Batman who comes in. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, there was too much Batman, not enough Bruce Wayne. I've seen enough Bruce Wayne. I feel like, in my opinion, we've got enough Bruce Wayne to last me a lifetime through the Christopher Nolan versions. There was too much Bruce Wayne in that film and not enough Batman. And in Christopher Nolan's Batverse, I felt like the fight sequences were a little clunky. It was choppy. It was not convincing. I loved the fight sequences in this movie, particularly when we first get a taste of Batman, when he comes out of the shadows and he's saying, I am the shadows, which is, people, and and you saw like a lot of the criminals, because literally Gotham City is overrun by criminals. So when you get the criminals and stuff, and that whole aspect, they're afraid of going in the shadows because they know, like, once you see that bat signal in the air, he means business. Like, I'm not going in there because I'm gonna get my ass beat. So I just love that whole vibe. And it was literally like this film was on 10 the minute it starts, with like it was just up here the whole time and literally had me locked in for the almost 3 hours that it was. It was like 290 something, but we're just gonna go with the credits. It's a 3 hour movie, so let's just say that. So I love that aspect, and basically, like, when he wasn't pulling and he punches in this film, that he basically was, I just like the idea of the Riddler going after Gotham's elite. So all the people who are the upper echelon, all these rich, wealthy people, and the politicians, and the attorney, the district attorneys, and all these powerful people, that they were all corrupt in some sort of way, and what their connection was. And we all find out later on in the movie that a lot of powerful people are connected to Carmine Falcone, who basically runs one of the biggest clubs in Gotham City, and his right hand man is also played by the Penguin, is the Penguin played by Colin Farrell, and I'm gonna get into his performance in a second, but I did like the ideas of, if I didn't say it before, that there were Seven and Zodiac vibes in there. Like, there was very much a lot of David Fincher vibes in the cinematography. What else? Because I did take some notes. I also love the fact that, there was a journalistic aspect to it. So in the beginning, you hear a lot of voiceover, and Robert Pattinson is talking. He's doing like the voiceover aspect of it, where he's basically keeping a log of what's going on, and that he's only been Batman for 2 years. So, and he basically, and also I love about the film is that he wears these contacts on his eyes, which pretty much records everything that's going on his journey as a vigilante. And also, I know a lot of people wondering, he only mentions Batman one time in the movie. Nobody even knew what to call him. He was basically the vigilante. That's basically what he was known as throughout the film. So Selena Kyle calls him Batboy at one point, and then he says something towards the end of the movie where he's like, "This must be the end of the Batman" or something or another. But for the most part, what I did, like I said, I loved when he was talking about that, how he was hiding in the shadows. One of the scenes, like when he first comes along and he's in the subway, in the big subway fight sequence, which some people are saying that the kid who was scared was being initiated into the gang, and he had to go beat up this guy that was on there, that got off the train, because there was this gang of kids that was on the train that were picking on, watching fights, and they would record themselves beating up people in the street and stuff. There's some word online. There's some people saying that he could be the future Robin. I don't know. There could be some leeway into that. Is something to think about. I was actually thinking about the little kid who was the son of the mayor. Like, what if he decides to become, if they make him become Robin? But I actually would like that idea if the little kid, well, the teenage kid, who they were trying to initiate into the gang by beating up this Asian guy, was going to be the future Robin. I would like to see that kind of explored down the road. So that would be a good idea, because Matt Reeves did make some changes in this film. And I'll get to that change that has nothing to do with in the comics, but it's what they brought in to kind of bring along a certain character story. So I also love the fact that, so what I meant to get to was the footsteps. So there's a sequence in there where, like, he first comes on, and it's the sound of his footsteps where he's walking towards the group of gang members, if I can get my words, when he's coming across the gang members, and it's like the sound of his boots is like that crunching and the leather, and it just very much reminded me of a Western. So just the small attention to details I pretty much liked about the film. I even like that how a lot of times when Robert Pattinson was in the Batman costume, how just by a certain look or a certain movement, like there was so much he would say without actually saying a word. And I know a lot of people were saying, well, he was a good Batman, but he wasn't a good Bruce Wayne. I think people miss the point with that, where it's like, if you look at his character of being Bruce Wayne, he was not comfortable being Bruce Wayne. He didn't want to be Bruce Wayne. There was many iterations throughout the film where he mentioned, even down to Alfred giving him the cufflinks when he had to go to the funeral for the mayor. I don't want your cufflinks. Like, he wanted no part of being the philandering playboy. He didn't want to be that. He felt more comfortable being Batman. He feels that he is more, I need to be on the streets, cleaning up Gotham City, kicking people's asses, trying not to kill people, and following that code, rather than being this philandering playboy. So I think the main gripe that people have watching this movie is that they were expecting this Batman to be what they're used to seeing, and now that we're getting something different, people don't like change. People don't like a different iteration of something that they're accustomed and they're used to seeing. So I liked it. I embraced every aspect of this story that Matt Reeves was trying to convey to us in the film. Now, I like the idea that, you know what, that there was this great chemistry between um, Gordon, James Gordon, and Batman. He's not Commissioner Gordon yet. We do meet that there's a commissioner who's corrupt also in the film. And we see how later on that, how Jeffrey Wright will eventually become Commissioner Gordon. So I like that this was the early years of everybody. It was the early years of the Catwoman. It was the early years of the Riddler. Every character on screen, even the surprise appearance of the Joker at the end when he was in Arkham Asylum after, that's where the Riddler ends up. That I like that he wasn't a fully realized Joker yet. This is everybody's early year. So all the stuff that you've seen where people are already this fully realized person, even down to Batman being fully realized, because he's always been a fully realized character in every movie. People have to continuously keep in mind this is his second year of being a vigilante or a superhero. He doesn't have all the answers. He doesn't have it all together. Even though when people are criticizing, he didn't get all the riddles. It's like he's still like coming to terms with he's not going to get everything right. This superheroes aren't perfect. He's a human being at the end of the day. So it's like reality. People had a hard time conveying that. And I also love the fact that, when the Riddler finally gets captured, that he was basically like he was inspired by the Batman being out here being a vigilante. And then later on in the film, he realizes that, you know what, I've been going about this the wrong way. It's sort of like projecting fear into people and thinking that being that fearful person is enough that's going to get results. And he's realizing it's not working. Crime continues to rise. Corruption is still going on. The way I'm going about it is the wrong way. And then he kind of has that transition towards the third act, which I actually like. So it's like he's not. So I feel like in the sequel, he will embrace the philandering playboy more. And we'll see that balance of he's coming to terms with a lot of that. So now let me get to what I also loved about the fact that there was a sequence that I found quite hilarious where they were doing my God, what was it? Oh, the El Rata, what was it? La Rata, URL Rata, El Rata, and how it took them a minute to realize what he was saying with that. And it was basically like he was there was a whole thing when he captures the penguin and all that sort of. Speaking of which, I know I'm jumping all over the place, but that freaking scene with the Batmobile, that was like my all-time favorite scene in this movie, because if you're a car guy, this is something that you're definitely gonna love, especially like if you're watching if you're basically watching like a lot of car movies, and it's like Bullet, I'll have to say, is like one of my all-time favorite car chase sequences. Like there's been a lot of car chase sequences in the movies and this and the other. This Batmobile, in my opinion, has been I feel like my favorite Batmobile that I've seen on the big screen. It's tactical, it makes sense, it's practical, it makes sense to have that. Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna do that in a second. Oh yeah, so I love the car chase sequences and how that whole thing worked out, because especially if you watch it in IMAX with that surround sound, it's like so perfect, and the cinematography was just beautiful in this film. So yeah, chef's kiss to the audio, the sound department, and how they had that car just revving up. I love the car. I hope to see more of it. I did not. I felt, yeah, it was definitely my favorite Batmobile. I did not like. I don't like the tumbler in the previous Batman movies. First of all, it was too big. It was crashing into everything. And from what I heard, Christopher Nolan want a Batmobile in the film. I did love the Bat bike in the Bat cycle, whatever you want to call it, in the Dark Knight Rises. I love that, especially when certain sequences when it would skid and the wheels would flip. That would like be my favorite part of the Bat bike. So I love that. But for the most part, everything in this film, like everything just seems like it came from a place of in reality and like how would this work in a real setting? And a lot of these characters would literally, you could imagine someone like the Riddler, someone like the Penguin and his whole thing. Speaking of which, Colin Farrell, amazing job on playing Oz Cobblepot. He's not Oswald Cobblepot. He's known as, they call him Oz in the film. Colin Farrell was unrecognizable. You like if you watched the movie the first time, you didn't know Colin Farrell was in it. You would not know that that was him. The good job on the makeup, whoever his makeup person was. Also, the accent, like he did like this Jersey accent or whatever. Like you could not tell that that was him in this film. So good job on him. I love Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman and her whole backstory on how they meet, and how they meet is basically um what we find out from the mayor, that there was a photo, some photos that, well, there was a whole situation that comes out where he's looking at clues at the crime scene, and then what we learn to find out is that the mayor was spotted with some woman. So clearly he was cheating, and he was spotted at 44 Below, which is Falcone's club. So you see him in the photo. You see this Russian chick who we find out is her name Annika, and she is connected to Selena Kyle. So apparently, I don't know if they're friends, if they're lovers, what the case was, because Zoe Kravitz said she called her baby a couple of times in the movie. So I'm assuming that they were in a relationship or they were fooling around, whatever you want to call it. But she did say in an interview that Selena Kyle was bisexual, and I've seen a lot of the blogs running along with it. So, but I don't know if it's true, because I think Matt Reeves was kind of implying that she wasn't, but Zoe Kravitz said she was. So I don't know who to believe, but the implication is there in the film when you watch it. So we found out that Annika, the girl that was seen with the mayor, who was killed in the opening sequence, was connected to this girl, which leads him to go into the club. And then he comes across Selena for the first time, who's working as one of the bar girls there. And I think she starts getting into things, and then she breaks into the mayor's house to try to get her passport so they can leave Gotham City. And that's when she and Batman gets into this fight, and then they get this connection, and a whole bunch of stuff ensues. So I love their chemistry together. There was a lot of sexual tension between those two. So it was very believable. And I just thought that they were just great. It was a lot of great acting in this film. I love John Turturro as Falcone. His iteration and that whole story, what we find out later on, is based on the El Rata, what is it, URL Rata Alata, which we come to find out that he was saying it wasn't even El or La, that, you know, he got it confused. It's a URL, not El Rata Alata. So the Spanish had to be explained by the Penguin, which was hilarious, because it was like Gordon didn't understand what the hell the clue was, and they had to be broken down by somebody who didn't even know what the hell's going on. So when that sequence came out, it come to find out it was a website he had to go to, which linked the whole thing to why the Riddler kept sending little riddles to the Batman, which goes to show that he was also connected. Not necessarily him, but his parents were connected. So we come to find out that Martha Wayne was actually Martha Arkham, and the whole Arkham Asylum situation kind of connects to that, which I guess is why we're getting the Arkham Asylum TV series coming to HBO Max, as well as I'm looking forward to the Penguins spinoff series that's coming to HBO Max as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know how I feel about the Gotham PD series that they've got coming to there as well, because we did a show called Gotham on Fox, and I think the first 2 seasons were good, but then it got ridiculous. Y'all started trying to fall the wagon, and y'all tried to incorporate Bruce Wayne and Batman into that whole story, and it just wasn't working for me. So I don't know how they're going to make this work. I'm curious more about the Arkham series. I'm more curious about, I'm really more excited for the Penguin series. That's at the top of my list. But getting back to this, so we find out that what the connection was, because, you know, they did take from one of the Batman lores comics that Falcone was shot, and Thomas Wayne basically healed him and helped him survive, and, you know, that sort of thing. So then we find out the reason why all that happened. So apparently Bruce's parents weren't as squeaky clean as they've made his parents in previous films and that sort of thing. So I like the idea that we went into this thing where Thomas Wayne was running for mayor 20, I believe it was 20 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So Thomas Wayne basically was running for mayor. There was a reporter that was digging around. You know, like when it comes to you're a political figure or you're running for office, there's always going to be somebody who's a reporter, blogger, whatever the case. Well, back in the day, we didn't have bloggers. There was more reporters. So they had a Gotham reporter who was digging into Thomas's past, and we kind of found out that Martha Wayne was a part of. Well, she was Martha Arkham, and her mother, Martha's mother, killed her father, and Martha was in and out of institutions. So that story kind of came up, and that would have not fared well for Thomas's campaign. So in a moment of weakness, he goes to Falcone and tells him that I need you to put the fear of God in this reporter. So when the reporter refuses to comply, the reporter winds up murdered, which we kind of find out later on that is what Falcone did to Selena's friend Annika. He winds up murdering her and stuff as well. So with that being said, it's like we're sitting there thinking that Salvatore Moroni was the one who killed Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne. Now it's implied that Falcone may have committed the crime, but it still was left up to interpretation. I'm still kind of confused. Like, I don't know who did what. So I think that was the intent. But overall, yeah, it was a really good movie. And another thing I was curious about was the green serum at the end when Bruce is beaten down to the point where Selena's about to be killed, and he injects this green serum in himself. I thought initially it was adrenaline, but then upon further research, there was this green serum that I forgot that Bane used back in the comics, and I think it was in one of the Batman movies too, when he was in the old comical ridiculous ones, that he uses green serum and stuff as well. So people were implying that that's what that was. So Bane may make an appearance, and if he does, I hope he's a much cooler version of the Christian, I mean not Christian Bale, well the Christian Bale movie Bane, which was played by Tom Hardy. I actually like Tom Hardy in that film, but I feel like their fight sequence was so dull. It was a disappointment. Y'all were fighting too damn slow for me. The break in the back situation didn't feel earned. It just felt lazy. I felt like Christopher Nolan was just over it. It just felt like he was over the film by the time he started directing The Dark Knight Rises. So that was like my least favorite. Batman Begins, I in particular like that film either. So the only movie out of that entire franchise that I liked, the trilogy, was The Dark Knight, because Heath Ledger did such a great job, and that was a perfect film too. It had Heat elements in there as well, so that's what I liked about. That's why that's a perfect film for me. But overall, I'm trying to remember if I forgot anything. But I love this film. I could even see this film possibly being an Oscar contender. For, of course, it'd be for sound design, for visual effects, whatever the case. It could win those typical ones that wins. But I would love to see some acting stuff going up there as well. So hopefully we can get some nominations for Colin Farrell. We can get some nominations for John Turturro. We get some nominations, I even think, for Robert Pattinson too. I think he did a phenomenal job in this role. And in my opinion, I'm really looking forward to what they're going to bring to what Matt Reeves is going to bring to future Batman films. So, so while we exit out on this, I do want to play this clip from TikTok about of the Batman versus MCU that I think you guys should check out. So, roll that clip.
I'm tired of these type of critics. If you don't know what I'm talking about Rotten Tomatoes. Now, majority of the critics have said some positive things about this film. But those who did not like it, just hear this one. Just hear this one from Tina Lamb. Performances were emotional and raw in the Batman. But you're gonna get a very broody Batman that never smiles. The Batman is not kid-friendly for the younger ones. Tina, I think that's what the movie was going for. I'm sorry to break it to you, but Batman is not a kid-friendly hero. This is not an MCU film.
He's absolutely right. Oh, there's more. It's like breaking news. But yeah, this guy, he's absolutely right. And I think that was something I forgot to iterate as well. That's why I use like Seven and all that other, so those type of vibes in this film. It was an extremely dark film. So also, I could definitely see why over in the UK, because when I heard they got a 15 rating, which is considered, and I didn't know this because I don't know much about ratings outside of the United States. I know here we have PG, PG-13, R, and NC-17. NC-17 is damn near X-rated. That's shout out to Showgirls because they got an NC-17 rated back in the day. But it's an equivalent to an R rating. So a 15 rating is basically no one under the age of 15 can see a film, and the Batman got that rating. And I know a lot of people over the UK are upset because they're not going to be able to see this film, and a lot of the ratings board isn't budging over it. So yeah, this film is very dark. It's got quite a bit of violence in there, like even down to the music and the way the Riddler is presented in this film. And I think people really need to start, and I'm glad you put that clip in there because I wanted to bring this up and I totally forgot. What Marvel is doing is completely different than what the DC is doing. A lot of the DC superheroes, they do teeter more on the edgier, darker side than what Marvel does. If you're going to be at Disney, they have to confine themselves to certain rules that they have to abide by to maintain that certain aesthetic or the certain audience that they built. It's kind of like with the new Doctor Strange movie, because I had heard that I forget the director's name, but he directed the movie Sinister. He was initially attached to do that film, but eventually they went, because of due to creative differences, he dropped out, and they wound up bringing in Sam Raimi, who directed Evil Dead, but he also directed Spider-Man, the second Spider, the Spider-Mans with Tobey Maguire. He directed those, so they knew that he could do scary, but he could also do commercial. So they wanted to go with that. Whereas the director of Sinister said, I want to go more horror with it. And of course, Kevin Feige didn't agree because, of course, with the MCU, you can only abide by a certain, you can't toe the line too much. They went a little bit over that line with this movie. So people comparing what the Batman is and the type of character he is to someone of like the Incredible Hulk or Captain America or Thor, or that thing, that's doing an injustice to who he is. He is a dark character. He is the world's greatest detective. And I'm glad that we got that, more of that aspect in this film. Was very much CSI, was very much, very forensics. I was up in there locked in solving those riddles too. Even though I wasn't getting them all, but I did get the one about the El Rado one, because I'm like, of course he's talking about a bat. I know it left a lot of it open to different interpretations, but I'm like, due to connection, why he's always taunting the Batman and giving him these letters, I knew it had to be about a bat they was talking about, but whatever. Nevertheless, I agree. It's a dark film. Stop trying to compare this to other things. If you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, especially if you don't have lore or understanding of comics, keep your opinions to yourself. But I'm all open for people having different interpretations, different opinions. But if it's valid and if it makes sense, but if you're just saying dumb shit just for the sake of saying dumb shit, just shut up. So anyway, let's get into this AMC story. So apparently AMC Theaters is charging higher prices for tickets to The Batman. Speaking of which, CEO Aaron Aaron announced this past Tuesday as the movie theater chain begins to experiment with so-called variable pricing for different films. And the news marks the arrival, at last, of a long-anticipated change in strategy for movie theaters, coming as the business continues to struggle amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, as Aaron noted during an earnings call, ticket prices for The Batman are slightly higher than the prices for other movies playing in the same theaters at the same time. So as of this writing, shout out to EW for this story, by the way, AMC is charging $1.50 more for an adult ticket to the superhero film in Los Angeles compared to a ticket to other movies at the same time and same venue. Now, from what I heard is that European countries are doing this, and they basically compare this to sports events, concerts, and live theater. Now, Adam Aaron, you're an idiot, number one. I mean, I've heard stories about this guy. If you really want to break down this whole thing, you definitely need to check out this 30-minute video that John Campea did, where he talks about this at length. But as someone like myself who used to work for AMC, this is a stupid idea. Number one, what does charging a ticket price for the Batman $1.50 more? Because they're doing this over in LA. I don't think they've done it in New York yet. Because I'll say for me, I got 2 tickets for the Batman at IMAX, and I paid tickets came out to $50 for both, just in total with the tax and everything. Came out to $50. Is that a good enough price for stuff? I get it. It's IMAX. I'm paying for the experience, that sort of thing. But everybody knows that the real money, how theaters make their money, is not in the tickets. It's in the concession. So I don't understand, as someone who worked at AMC, I know this, and that's why I'm telling you guys this. Why would you even think that raising the price on a ticket helps your theater? It doesn't. I think it helps the studio, but it doesn't help the theater. The theater makes the money on the concession. So if you really want to give your fans that experience, why not go the route of, say, an Alamo Drafthouse, who, we have one in Brooklyn, and we also have one that I think just recently opened up a couple of months ago, back in October of last year, if I'm not mistaken, in Manhattan. And they serve alcohol, and they also serve, real edible food. It's not like what you get at AMC, which is popcorn, stale soda, chicken tenders, some fries, and a pizza. That's not all that's the basic scenario of what you're getting from a place like an AMC. If you really want to entice people to come back to the theater, I would think that you would want to come up with better ideas. And the funny thing is, I've talked to friends about this before, where it's like, well, I understand there's a transition happening. We've got a lot of streaming services that's going around that's really trying to vie for our attention. And I know people who refuse to go to movies now because the experience is not worth going anymore. You have people who are loud, they're kicking your chair, people getting into fights, people getting drunk, people are ruining the experience. And I'll say for me, for the most part, I haven't had any bad experiences since going back to the theaters post COVID. People were relatively quiet and well behaved during the Batman, and I did teeter over a bit, and I did see a little kid kind of cowering into his parent because there were some scary scenes that were on screen. So I do think, going back to the Batman, you need to come in that film with a little bit of discretion. But saying this, I think this is a stupid idea. I've heard that Aaron has had a reputation of basically making a lot of shitty decisions. I forgot there was a company that he worked for prior to getting hired at AMC. And I was at AMC before he got there. But I think actually there was a transition period where I was on my way out as he was coming in. And he may have been there for at least a good year or two before I was on my way out, if I can remember correctly. But I had heard of his name was floating around and stuff. So I do think this is a stupid idea. If you're going to really want to entice people to come back to the theater, you need to come up with a better idea of trying to get people to come there. Like, I don't know, I don't know off the top of my head what amazing idea there would be to get people to come back into a theater, but it needs to be higher. I mean, it needs to be much better than raising ticket prices, because to me, that's going to just make me think of priorities, which is, okay, so what movies do I deem far more important that I want to spend a full ticket price on? So I would only go to the movies and see films like maybe the big superhero stuff, which I guess they know, which is why they're raising the prices. So, but there would be certain superheroes, like I'm not paying to see no extra $1.50 for no Morbius. Like y'all been delaying that movie so damn much. I'm just be like, just throw the shit on Netflix right now already. But yeah, so if like what is it? Like Doctor Strange, I'll go see that in the theater because that looks like it would be a really good thing you want to see on the big screen. The Batman is definitely something you want to see on the big screen. Or I'll just, wait for friends of mine who I know who still work for the company to get me in to see those films, but I having to pay. No shade, but just saying. So yeah, AMC do better. Or you're gonna start losing a lot of people. I heard Regal's jumping in on this too. So I'm thinking what needs to probably happen is maybe I think what's going to happen is people are going to abandon ship and they're going to go to other streaming services, or not even that. They're going to wait for the movie to come out because, from what I heard, the Batman comes out on I think it's 45 days from the theatrical release. So people just wait till next month to see the Batman on the big screen. I mean, not big, on their big screen, which is if you got yourself a 72-inch TV and a sound bar, you can get that same experience in a theater, and a reclining chairs in your house and a nice big couch that you got to sit on. You can sit in the compound of your home and watch the movie. Pause it, just go to the bathroom. You get you some popcorn, pop some popcorn in the microwave, get your little ice cream, whatever the case is, and you just sit down and you just enjoy the film in the compound of your home, because the movie theaters are going to continue to pull, and you're going to lose a lot of people who really who enjoy the art of cinema like myself. So hey, Sway.
Shit is fucking trash, dog. Get the fuck off the airwaves.
Oh,
well, damn. So moving right along, let's get into this story about Will Smith and Michael Bakari Jordan. I know, in case y'all didn't know, yes, that's what the B stands for Bakari. So apparently they're about to join forces and make a movie together. And that movie is none other than a sequel to I Am Legend. So, I Am Legend combined, their movies have grossed a massive $12.3 billion at the box office. Now, the plot details are a little scarce at this point, but Oscar winner Akiva Goldsman, who adapted a Richard Matheson 1954 novel, is returning to write the sequel. No word on if who's going to be the director, but Francis Lawrence, who is a notable music video director, and he's directed a couple of movies. I don't know if he's going to come back and direct the sequel. I'm actually looking forward to. I loved I'm Legend. I definitely enjoyed I'm Legend, and shout out to Will Smith, who just took home, Best Actor, and he's up for Best Actor and Best Picture at the Oscars. I should point out, and he did win the SAG Award for Best Actor for King Richard. So, congratulations to him on that win. It is well deserved. I like Will. He's come a long way. He was going through a period of not being in the spotlight as much, but it's nice to see that he's on this comeback trail. And this big Oscar win means he's got a lot of movies that he could be pushing out and producing. I would love to see a sequel to Hancock. I hope they actually decide to get that ball rolling, because I would love to see a sequel to Hancock. Like, it was original idea, different superhero, something that doesn't exist out there, and I like that movie. It wasn't the perfect movie, but I would like to see them work on a sequel to that. But with this film, how are you going to make a sequel? Like, I want to know, because okay, let's say this. There are two. Oh, I have someone who says they hated Hancock, but I actually enjoyed it for what it was. It could have been better in some spots, but I liked Hancock. But with this movie, if y'all remember, because I did watch it, I watched I'm Legend actually 2 weeks ago, so it is still relatively fresh in my mind. Visually, I thought it was a good movie. What they really need to do, I want practical vampires. I don't want no CG vampires like I had in the other one. I hated the look of the vampires in the I Am Legend movie. The CG looks a little dated. If you're gonna do vampires, I need y'all to do real vampires and make them scary. I'm not gonna say Morbius vampires, because Jared Leto does look cool as a vampire, and some of the graphics look really good in the commercials, the trailers I've seen. I'm still not 1,000% excited to see this movie. Like, that is a movie to me that I could wait till it comes out on one of the streaming services. It's not something that I am rushing to a theater to see. And it also could play into the fact that this movie's been delayed so many times. But yeah, with I'm Legend, I've always felt like they could do a sequel to it. I mean, will Alicia Braga be coming back? Will what? Remember Wyatt from Ozark? How old girl was like, what? Wyatt was the little boy that played Alicia Braga's son in I'm Legend. Remember the mother and the son that came to they heard the radio call on there in the movie. So will it kind of the story continue from there, or is Bakari playing someone who's carrying on the legacy of Will Smith's character? Because Dr. Neville is who he played, but because I don't know how they're going to bring him back. Will Smith's character died at the end in the theatrical version. There is an alternative cut where he actually survives, but that's not the cut y'all went with. If we're going to talk theatrical cut, that's the one we got to stick with. So if you're going to bring him, like, how are we going to bring Will Smith in? Or is it just he's going to be a voiceover? Where you got him be the voiceover and that sort of thing, or he'll be appearing in flashbacks. Y'all got to come up with let me know. I mean, I'm interested in seeing an I Am Legend sequel, but only if the story works. And I could definitely see Michael B. Jordan playing, being in a role like this. Hey, Karen, how are you? It's another valid customer, someone who's been following and watching the show. Love you too. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this I'm Legend movie. But if y'all got a good script, then I'm here for it. But y'all definitely got to explain, because I know some people were saying that Michael B. Jordan could be playing Will Smith's son, when I don't know how, when Will Smith had a daughter in the film, and the daughter was played by Willow Smith. So unless he transitioned, or she transitioned, well, she couldn't have, because she died in the movie too. She died in a helicopter with her mother. So I don't know who he's playing, but I'm curious to see where they're going to go with this film. So speaking of Will Smith, let's get a little entanglement business. So apparently there was some drama that happened at the SAG Awards that I had just previously talked about. And Laverne, while on the red carpet, she was hosted the red carpet and that sort of thing. And she basically made a little jokey joke, an entanglement. Hey, Adriana. But it's fine. Chris Avalon ain't my real name either. Quiet as it's kept. It's a stage name. But yes. So Laverne basically spoke out on all the things that happened with the backlash and stuff. But to give context of what's happening, here's what Laverne said that's got people, including a certain fallen actress of the 90s, Tits in a twist. Roll the clip.
Crossed. This will hopefully be your year. We love you. Thank you for all the years of joy you've brought us. Thank you. We can't wait for more Red Table Talk and more entanglements and no more entanglements. No more entanglements.
To me, I thought it was actually funny what she said. And I know there were some people saying, like, oh, maybe a producer told her to say that in her ear. That's not the type of girl Laverne is. Like, why would she stoop to that level? And I'm like, what level? She's on a red carpet. She's hosting. She's trying to be funny and keep the, momentum going. Keep some. She is in the echelon of Hollywood. So I don't see, like, what she said was a bad thing. And my thing is this. The minute you come out and you start spilling all your business, I'm making light and I'm making jokes about it. Like I would have said the same damn thing Laverne said. I would have been a little shadier with it, but they live for it. And I'm sure like what Jada felt is like, you know what? All is fair in love. I forgot they also did a movie together too. Set it off. Jada and Miss Vivica. So because she knows them, and I'm gonna get to what Vivica said, which got me looking at her like, ma'am, if you don't have a seat somewhere. So Laverne basically said, we love you. Thank you for all the years of joy you've brought us. Oh, wait. So basically, she's speaking out and telling her side of the story amid receiving backlash to bring up Jada Pinkett's entanglement she had with singer August Alsina while she and her husband were on a break, like Ross and Rachel, apparently. So she basically said this. She said, I've been thinking about it. No one is above critique. I like to hold myself accountable, but I wanted to take a moment to critically reflect on it. I love Red Table Talk, and I love what the Smiths have done with it. I think my era was I have so much I wanted to say to the Smiths. Well, yeah, and you also get a short amount of time to speak with people on the red carpet. So she goes, So she went and said, so when I said I was looking forward to more Red Table Talk and entanglements, I thought that was funny, but out of context, without a deeper context, people have obviously read it. My intent was not to mock or make fun of, but obviously there is a difference between intent and impact. That is true, because I always say it's not what you say, it's the intent of what you're putting out there. She also said that the video was not an apology, but instead an invite to think critically, which a lot of y'all have a problem doing, but let's continue. I did not apologize. I'm contextualizing. This is not an apology. If this Smiths need an apology from me, I'll find out privately and I'll do that privately. This is an apology. This is a love letter to them. This is an invitation to think critically about our relationship to what we call mess. And Miss Jada Pinkett has no problem with spilling all her messy situations that goes on in her personal life. So Vivica, on that show she does with Claudia Jordan and them, decided to speak out on it, and she said that she called the comment tacky and explained that she may have shot herself in the foot when it comes to red carpet interviews. Vivica explained that there's a time and a place for everything, and insulting a power couple in the industry was a bad move for Cox. So she says, talk about wrong place, wrong time. I just think that you have to pick and choose because, darling, people remember that Will and Jada are a power couple. They do a lot of work. They're very well connected. There are people that now, if you might be on the red carpet, they're gonna all, what? Shout out to the Shade Room, but y'all really need to proofread before y'all write shit down. Okay, let me put it in sentences where it makes sense. She basically was implying that they do a lot of work. They're very well connected in the industry. And the next time that you're on a red carpet because of what you said, you may get passed over by big name celebrities, which they do anyway, quiet as it's kept. Y'all love passing over black media because y'all want to go to the Hollywood Reporter, you want to go to Deadline, you want to go to, Mark Malkin and the rest. Shout out to y'all. No shade to the white media, E-News, all of that. But a lot of y'all, and particularly a lot of you publicists and things of that nature. I have one too, so I know. Not saying that's what she does because she is a black woman. Shout out to my sister. Not my sisters, my sisters. But anyway, so when it comes down to that, I'm not losing my train of thought. I don't like how Vivica came in because you should be talking about them because now you're gonna be blackballed and you be black. See, you the bitch, you the problem. And I don't like, I live for Vivica. She is like, I love her in Kill Bill. Shout out to that Vanita Green part where she gave what needed to be gave in that role. A lot of iconic roles. Loved her in Set It Off. Loved her in Soul Food. Loved her in a lot of stuff. But girl, your whole career right now, like you should be the last one talking about people not getting called for big things, when in fact you fucked that up because you had the opportunity to be this big star, but your head got a little too big for its britches. Lanier says, I thought nothing of what Laverne said. I found it funny myself. I completely got where she was going with it. I had no problem with what she said too. And Adriana agrees with her assessment. It wasn't that bad. It just felt like Vivica was bitter. She's still probably mad over 50 Cent dragging her ass back in the day. I don't know what's her problem. She was like, to me, it just seemed like maybe Vivica was looking for a moment her damn self. So to me, what she said and trying to use the whole, well, now Will and Jada, to me, I feel like they're good sports about it. Jada is a Virgo like myself. We know, like, if we go put some shit out there, like, we should expect that people are going to come in and make little jokes and say certain things because we expect nothing more. I don't think Will and Jada would be the type, at least as far as I know, that they would block people's blessings or pull like little stunts where you're like, well, I don't like that person, so they should be, dismissed or ostracized from Black Hollywood or whatever the case is. Quiet as it's kept, I think Laverne Cox is beyond Black Hollywood because Black Hollywood don't even see her. Y'all don't even see trans women in the gay community. It just was recent that Tyler Perry decided to put some homosexuals or a gay man in his latest movie. I ain't gonna go there with the read, but if you know what I'm saying, I don't know what I'm saying. He wasn't the only one that was gay in that movie, by the way. But anyway, just getting back to the tea, Black Hollywood, y'all don't respect trans people, y'all don't respect Black people, y'all don't acknowledge us, y'all don't give us accolades and this, that, and the other either. So it is what it is. Vivica, you're wrong in your assessment. You're allowed to give your opinion, but I just don't agree with it. Now, moving on to the next topic. I know you've been nagging me about, no shade, but you've been nagging me about this Ozuna story for the longest. When there's some valid stuff that's going on with him, like I did my video about him years ago, but to me, if there was anything contextual about stuff that he's been doing, like I've talked about how he may have had a place in the murder of some gay rapper back in the day, and how he's had a past in gay porn, and I did that story, which got a lot of traction, a lot of views. But lately there hasn't been anything worth him on talking about. If there was something that was played into it, then I would talk about it. But to me, it just feels like it's not in. There was a story that I did. You can look way down in the old archives of my show where I did a story about Ozuna did gay porn. He basically wasn't he wasn't participating with other men, but he was in a porn film where he was pleasuring himself. So there's a solo scene of him where he's doing in a gay porn film. I don't remember the name of it. It's in the information of the old video that I did. It was probably like 3-4 years ago. And then there was a story where Karen was sending me where it was like of course, well, and then there's a story about he cheats on his wife and he sleeps with trans women, and there was a story that came out about some gay rapper that was murdered in Puerto Rico. I think it was maybe a year or two ago, and they're saying that Ozuna may have had something to do with it because the gay rapper and him had a relationship. So there's a lot, there's a lot of this where there's a lot of Puerto Rican, a lot of Latin rappers. Look, I've been telling y'all for years, Ricky Martin is not the only gay man running around in this industry. In the Latin music industry, there's a lot of them running around, but there's that whole machismo thing that's going on, and a lot of people don't want to talk about it. So and I think it was Kevin Fred was the name. So there's a whole lot of that. Like I said, y'all can Google it's down or you can look in the old archives. But let me get back to the show because we're getting off topic. There's an Alien movie that's going to be in the works. Now, I know people are like, why another Alien movie? They've been failing ad nauseum with these Alien movies, the Prometheus films, all these little side spin-offs that they've been coming up with over the years. But because Don't Breathe filmmaker Fede Alvarez is set to write and direct this movie, from 20th Century Studios. Remember, it was 20th Century Fox, but since Disney bought it, now it's 20th Century Studios. Now you've got me excited because I love Fede Alvarez. Fede Alvarez directed, in case you didn't know, he directed Don't Breathe, and he also directed the remake of Evil Dead, since we were talking about Sam Raimi earlier, speaking of which. And I love both movies. He's produced a couple of horror movies as well, including most recently the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that piece of shit that's currently on Netflix. I hated that movie. But the gore sequences were pretty interesting. My favorite scene from that movie was when they were on the bus and they hold up the phone, oh, we're going to cancel you. And I'm like, can you just kill this generation, please? So I love that scene because I felt like this generation, a bunch of fucking idiots anyway. No shade, but I'm just saying. The Generation Z with their phones and just completely oblivious to life and how every character in this film was unlikable. It was just a bad movie. And Fede Alvarez produced it, so I didn't mind it. He also produced, but did not direct, Don't Breathe 2, which I did not like. So he gets a pass for that because he's producing, not directing. If he was directing, then I'd be like, I don't know. But so far, the two movies that I've seen of Fede Alvarez that have played into the whole horror world, I've actually liked. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this Alien movie with Fede Alvarez. And from what I've heard, it's heading to Hulu. I'm also looking forward to, speaking of which, they're doing a Hellraiser Hellraiser. I think they finished it already with the girl from oh my god, what was the trans girl that was in the damn show with the Wachowskis did that's on Netflix, Sense8. She's playing Pinhead, and so we have a trans woman playing Pinhead in this new version. I know people are like, well, how are you gonna make Pinhead a woman? If you actually look at old drawings, the Cenobite was the lead Cenobite with the pins in his head was actually a woman in other reiterations of Pinhead. Check with Clive Barker; he will tell you himself. Oh, sorry. I mean, I don't mean to literally kill them, but look, Gen Z, y'all are fucking annoying. With a lot of y'all cancel culture shit. But anyway, I mean, only if it's valid. We should start, holding people accountable. But cancel culture, y'all get on my nerves with that. But yeah, so this whole Alien movie, definitely looking forward to it. Don't know. Well, they said Ripley's not going to be in it. I don't mind that. Like, let's tell a different story with the different, use the same IP, tell a different story. We don't need Ripley in it. Quite as kept, as much as I love Sigourney Weaver, she is like pushing 70. We don't need an old lady Ripley in a movie about aliens. The movie that I feel like that story was told when it needed to be told, and let's just move on and tell a whole new different story. And so, yeah, Hulu's definitely doing the damn thing. And I like the fact that we have a lot of streaming services that are really giving us some great movies, because I don't think everything is meant for going into a theater to see. Some shit I'm looking forward to seeing on streaming services. Like, I'm really looking forward to seeing the new Firestarter movie that's coming out on Peacock. It's going to be on Peacock and it's going to be in the theater. But to me, those type of films, they work better on a streaming service. There's certain movies that are, in my opinion, are meant for streaming. Certain movies that are meant for a theater. Batman is meant for a theater. Firestarter, meant for streaming service, even though it's going to movies. And now, let's get to our last topic, which is this Bullet Train trailer. So I don't know if and I'm surprised I said that without getting tongue-tied. So that's a time fast. Bullet Train trailer. So I'm actually looking forward to this because, speaking of Latin rappers, my boy Bad Bunny is in this movie, and I'm really excited to see Bullet Train. I love Brad Pitt. I've always been a big Brad Pitt fan. I like when he's been doing more action lately. I loved him in World War Z. Hopefully we'll get a sequel to that. But I loved him in, what did he do fighting in? He did oh my God. Once Upon a Time, when he was in that. He did a little fight sequence of that. I'm actually looking forward to the movie he's doing where he rescues Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum's in it. I'm looking forward to seeing that movie. And Brad Pitt is showing he's capable of doing action, and David Leitch is behind this film. And so I'm looking forward to Brian Tyree Henry is in it, who was just coming off the Eternals, Michael Shannon, Joey King. So yeah, seeing Bad Bunny playing an assassin in a movie that is based on the Japanese novel Maria Beetle by Kotaro Isaka. And it also features a script written by Zach Okowitz. So now I did mention that The movie is directed by David Leitch, who directed a couple of movies that I love. Like he did Atomic Blonde, he did Hobbs and Shaw. He also helped. He was also a part of the first John Wick movie. Since then, it's been directed by. Oh yeah, he did. He with that curly hair, and he's playing a Mexican in it, which I find funny. This is the second time he's a Puerto Rican in real life, but they've had for some reason they love having Bad Bunny play Mexicans. He was in Narcos Mexico. I was going to bring that up too. He died in it, spoiler alert, but he's in it, and I'm sure he's probably going to die in this movie too. But seeing Bad Bunny making moves into the world of acting, I think is great. And also a fun fact: Lady Gaga was supposed to be in Bullet Train as well. But she, I guess, due to schedule conflicts or whatever the case was, I don't know if it had to do with House of Gucci, whatever the case was, but she ended up turning the role. She wasn't able to fulfill the role, and that role has since been fulfilled by Sandra Bullock. So the original role was that Sandra Bullock is the role that Sandra Bullock is playing in Bullet Train was originally supposed to be played by Lady Gaga. So that's a fun fact for you in case y'all didn't see. But yeah, definitely check out the trailer if you guys haven't seen it. It looks like a really good movie. I like the colors and how it pops. And yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson, who was kick ass. He's in the movie as well. Zazie Beetz, I didn't recognize her. I thought she was the Spanish chick from the new the new West Side Story movie, who she's getting all these accolades and stuff now. That's what I thought that was. But apparently that wasn't her. But speaking of which, I'm actually looking forward. Bad Bunny has a new album coming out this year. Can't wait for that to come out. I know he's got the El Último Tour del Mundo tour that's going to be kicking off with, and I believe he's also supposed to be doing a tour. He's doing that tour, and then I think he's doing another tour later on the year. So he's doing 2 tours this year. I know he got to be tired, but for the most part, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. So without further ado, that brings us to the end of our show, which is supposed to be all movie topics. I definitely want to be doing more movie topics as the show progresses. I don't just want to be doing celebrity news and gossip. I hope you all will allow the fact that I am not just one note where I just want to talk about celebrity news and gossip. There are different things that I love. I want to start doing music reviews, more music reviews. I want to start doing movie reviews. I also want to start talking about movie news and music news. So like when this Madonna biopic finally takes shape, because there's a lot of names that's floating around with that. I definitely want to start talking about that. And then talk about movies and stuff, because I did go to film school. That is sort of film was my background, so I want to talk about all that and a whole lot more. So yeah, without further ado, thank you all once again for watching and tuning in to this episode of On the Line. And also be on the lookout for what about Karol G and Anuel, that they broke up? I mean, I heard about that. I don't particularly care for them because they from what I've heard over the years, they're not very kind. They don't take too kindly to the LGBTQ community. So I pay them dust. And to me, Anuel has been someone who has always had a bit of a beef with Bad Bunny, even though they did a song together. And somebody tried to tell me Lindsay told me that. I'm spilling her tea. She said that they never had the, I know I'm supposed to be leaving, but I just got sidetracked. Bear with me. So she tried to tell me they never did a song. I'm like, wait, Anuel and Bad Bunny did do a song. I think they did more than one song. And then all of a sudden now you're beefing with him and you got a problem because Bad Bunny's career is bigger than yours and you're upset about it. So now you're trying to make a name for yourself off the back of trying to start a beef with someone who has the bigger career. And people like Bad Bunny because his style and his image is very much sexually fluid. He's a little weird. And he's someone who's just not afraid of being himself. And that's why I think Hollywood is embracing him, because he's got he's got all those things that we love that we look for in a superstar. So shout out to him. And yeah, back to the whole situation. Yeah. So shout out to y'all. Thank you all for watching. Tune in. We will be back next week with a brand new episode of Drinks and Drag. It's going to be a lot of interesting topics we got to cover in the world of drag. A lot of drama that's been going on. Definitely want to talk about that with Lindsay and Remy, and some couple of reality shows and stuff that's coming out. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And also keep in mind, be on the lookout for Chris Avalon Unfiltered, which is going to be my new podcast that's coming soon. It's a revamping of the Chris Avalon show. So definitely look out for that. So once again, love you all for watching. Tune in until next time. Click like, subscribe, do all that good stuff right down below. And tell your friends about me. So until next time, ciao, darlings.
It's a video. This is a video. All right. Oh, nigga, you just fucking right. It's a video. This is a video. All right. Oh, nigga, you just fucking right. It's a video. This is a video. All right. Oh, nigga, you just fucking right.
This is for faggots.